Okay, now let's speak about the major breeds of rabbits. Rabbit breeds can be categorized by different parameters. However, we'll speak about just about the weight categories. Um, this is a five category. We start with the dwarf or the miniature rabbits. These are mainly pets or ornamental breeds. The second one is a small category. This category is still for pets or ornamental breeds. The medium, the third one, the medium size can be pet, or we can produce with it. Um, the large category is great for the production, or there can be pets too. The giants are mainly for the production. However, there is an option to be pets, so um, there are many breeds, so we can choose rabbit for pets for indoor, or we can produce mainly meat with or rabbit. And let's see about the breeds and picture of them. Start with a little one, the dwarf and, or miniature ones. So you can see these are very cute animals. Let's see different species of it. Starting with the Britannia Petite. It's an old English breed. As we know, this is the smallest of standard breeds. And you can see these rabbits are white in color. However, the eyes are red. However, these are animals in the US. It's mainly with these parameters. The needle dwarf, you can see the color of this rabbit. This dwarf is developed in Holland and has more different color variation. So it can be very cute and colorful, but it's still true that this rabbit breed is very small, stocky and compact, and great to keep indoor as a pet. Himalayan, one is of the oldest and widest. It has the oldest and widest distribution. You can see the color of this rabbit. It's very in. One of the yes, the oldest and the widest distribution. However, the young rabbits are white and slightly tinged with silver gray. However, when it matures, it becomes snow white with deep black nose, ears, feet, and tail. So it's not colorful, it's just white and black when it's mature. The small category, this can be colorful too, and there are different very many groups and variety in this category. Let's see the Dutch rabbit. You can see, I think it's very cute. Mainly it's white and black. However, there are other options in color. It's developed in Holland. and England. So you can see Holland is a great country to where it's originated and developed different rabbit breed. Dutch rabbit has unique color markings, and you can see that it's very important encircle the eyes and the ears. So it's mainly white and black. However, there are other options in color. The rear half is also colored the same as the head, as you can see. So it's a part of the small category. Just to know about the weight of this animal, the mature live weight is 2.5 to 3.5 kilogram. So it's the weight of the in a smaller category. Continue with tan. It's originally black with tan underside. The tan color found around the eyes, nostrils, and toes. This breed is originated in England, and you can see the shape of this rabbit breed is different. For example, with the Dutch, as you can see. So it's like it's line wide rabbit. It's very similar. The Florida White. It's developed in Florida, as you can imagine. However, it was crossed by Dutch, Polish, and New Zealand white rabbit breeds. This breed is short and compact because it's the part of the small category, mainly white, and the eyes are red. As you can see in this picture. Okay, we are got information about a medium size rabbit. It's very colorful, category 2. The English spot is like Dalmatian dog, as you remember, of this species. It's introduced to US from England, and the unique chair of markings, the size of the P, run from the base of the ear to the rear flank. So I think you should remember, because Dalmatian dog mainly the standard chinchilla. So there is other species chinchilla. However, this rabbit breed is very similar with that chinchilla. So this is the connection in the name. So it's just a standard chinchilla breed. You can see this with this picture. It's very similar with the chinchilla species because of the size and the color of the animal. The undercolor is dark, slate blue at the base, pearl in the middle, and narrow, black band with narrow light band on the top. So it's a very great if we have Sundas chinchilla as a pet, how we can produce with this bread. The weight range for this bread is 3 to 4.5 kilogram. The English Angora As you can see in this picture, it's not as sharp as it should be. However, it can be said that English Angora has a short, compact body, and the head, ears, feet, and body are covered with wool. So Angora is special because of wool. It has wool and not fur, hair. So we can produce wool with rabbit species. This wool is very unique and it's costly. So, however, I will speak about the feeding of this breeds when we want to produce wool with our animal. The Belgian Hare, as you can see, it's the shape of this rabbit is similar with the white rabbit. So I think it's very unique too. It's originated in the Flanders in Belgium. However, the body of this Belgian Hare not as compact. It has a long, fine body, long, straight, and slender legs. It's like a wide species. Rhinelander. You can see in this picture about this great shape, a colorful species and breed. Rhinelander has a butterfly marking on the nose, cheek spots, and eye rings. You can see the ears are black too. The rest of the body is white with a hairless pattern or unbroken spire running from the neck down the back to the top of the nail, and has spots with black or gray or brown, as you can see. I think it's very similar the other breed, the Rex. It has short hair coat with guard hairs being the same length as the under fur. Okay, just a good question. If you want a rabbit with fur has a very soft and flush feel, so it's we can choose a Rex. However, you can see it can be white, black, gray, or brown. Has a different sized and colorful dots. The ears are mainly not white, however the body is mainly white with different colorful dots. Pan white, I wanted to show you Hungarian species. The Pan white, the breeding program starting in 1991. The mature weight, it's higher, as you can see, 4.3 to 4.8 kilogram. It's albino, just so it's always white, just white with red eyes, and Pan white is just for meat production. It's great in meat production. Let's speak about hybrids because I mentioned only species before and varieties. However, I want to just mention hybrids in rabbit keeping just these four hybrids: High Plus, High Call, Zika, and Hyla 2000. The High Plus and the High Call is from France. Zika is German, as you can see. This name is based on the owner, the name of the owner, and the rabbit in German, the word in German. The High 2000. It's not started. The breeding started in 2000. It started from 1969. I just want to show you some numbers about these hybrids. You can see the parameters on the left in the table, and the numbers and the rate of the hybrids, and because of it we have option to select the best hybrid for our production. As you can see, we have to focus to the lambing grain, to the number of litters, the weight of the litter, and other parts. The weight gain is very important in the poultry rabbit production, the feed consumption and conversion, and the last parameter, the carcass dressing. So if you want to work with hybrids, it's good to know these numbers. Okay, we have two other category. The large category, it can be a pet, as I mentioned. However, mainly we produce produce with these breeds. Californian. This was a cross with Himalayan and Chinchilla, and it was crossed with the white New Zealand. Because of it, you can remember the Himalayan color of the Himalayan Chinchilla, then the just white New Zealand, and you can see the Californian is similar in color with the Himalayan breed. This is the second most popular breed for the rabbit meat production. It's white with black colored nose, ears, feet, tail. However, the eyes are red, so it's very it's very compact rabbit. However, it's a variety. The weight range for this mature Californian is starting from about 3 kilograms, and the maximum weight should be 4.5 kilograms. The cinnamon, it can be pet, and we can produce this medium length rabbit with a well-filled meaty body. However, the color it's like cinnamon ground color. However, fur is tackled with smoke gray across the back, so it can be very colorful and great rabbit breed. The American breed. However, you can see these pictures not as sharp as I wanted. However, American is mainly for the production. The English Loup, however, is mainly for the pet or the ornamental breed. As you can see, there are other Loup varieties. I think it's very cute. As we know, this English Loop is the oldest domestic rabbit breed so far, but is a medium length with well-arched back and low head carriage. However, you can see the main parameter for this breed is the very long, wide, and very cute ear of this breed. It's mainly brown and white, however there are other color options for this breed. The New Zealand White is mainly just for meat production in globally. It's a leading choice for the commercial meat production, so it's a global choice for the production, and not surprising that the white color is preferred in rabbit production too, not mainly in the poultry. White color in rabbit production is preferred because small hairs that remain in the skin cannot be seen, so it's better in the production under the slaughtering. The major weight it's about 3 to 5 kilogram, and it's mainly it's always white. However, there are other options in the area of New Zealand varieties. There is New Zealand Red variety. This is essentially red, but has not been intensively selected for growth rates, so we can produce with it. However, the New Zealand White is better for meat production. The major lightweight is about New Zealand White, so it's about 3 to 4.5 kilograms. Sorry. Silver Fox. It's about a pet, mainly for pet ornamental breed. It's developed in Ohio in the US. You can see the silvered color fur and other special lack of a flyback fur. So it's very cute if you have as a pet, I think. And the last category is a giant part. You can find in the net different, I think, cute, a very interesting picture about a giant rabbit as a pet. It can be as big as a cat or a little dog, so it's very huge. It can be very huge animals. The giant Angora. Not surprising that it was developed for the maximum amount of wool production, so I think it's very simple. The body structure on a commercial animal with a unique coat structure, so the most important part is to wool production. The French Loup is in color can be very various, so it can be white to different spots, or can be gray, brown, and so on. So it can be ornamental breed. However, the ears are shorter than an English Loup and hang down horseshoes shape from the ground. It's very long. However, it's shorter than the English Loup. The English Loup has a longest ear among the rabbit varieties. The Flemish Giant, as you can see, it can be bigger than a little dog. mainly with this Flemish giant, you can find these great funny pictures. It's originated in Belgium, and this is the largest of all domestic rabbit breeds, so it's very huge. Okay, so this was the rabbit species part. Let's continue with the rabbit production and different information about the rabbit. What can be the benefits of the rabbit production? Just the main information. So the origin from the white rabbit, mainly the spacing, it's very minimal. It can be set up at backyard. How we have to deal with the information that we have to choose that we want to produce intensive, extensive. We want to just produce with two, 3 animal, or we want to produce for the market. So however, if we want to just rabbit meat at home, it's a great choice to work with a laser tan rabbit, and the spacing it's very great. The rabbit is a convenient 1 meal size animal. So, for example, it can be made the meal for a family, and because of it, it can be the storage can be avoided. The rabbit keeping is not restricted by any taboo or beliefs. However, and as I know, the eating of rabbit meat has no limitation. However, in Jewish and Hindu religion prohibit the consumption of the rabbit meat. However, the other religion and the most country can produce and eat rabbit meat, so it's better, for example, than pig meat production. The feeding about rabbit is cheap, mainly. However, the supplementation is other question. We have so many option. However, if we want to produce extensively or we want to produce at home with 5-10 rabbit, the feeding of rabbit is cheap. We can add vegetables, for example, from our kitchen or our garden, so it can be a good solution if we want to keep rabbit at home, for example, or extensively. Rabbit can be tended by women, children, or man or older person. So it's not as a bigger animal, so the big force is not needed, because they produce offspring regularly. They form a regular source of income, so instead of the large amount at once. It's mainly if we produce indoor, and we focus on the ventilation and the lighting, so it's and we can produce all over the year. It's mature for table between 5 to 6 months. However, it's always depending on the species parameters or the hybrids. So it can be different among the varieties. Rabbit is a prolific animal. The meat from rabbit is all white meat. Is differed from, for example, turkey. It's very high in protein and low in fat, so we can say that it is it's the most healthier meat. If we watch the different meat style and types, so it's great to know. So I think it's great, and you can read that it can be great in different health problem. The rabbit is not as a smartly or noisy animal, and it's easily kept near different buildings. So I mentioned when we want to locate or start a farm, poultry farm, we have to deal with problem, for example, the distance from the village or other part. However, with rabbit we have to better solutions, or we don't have to create a big distance like in poultry. However, if we want to produce intensively, we have to keep distance from our farm. It produces rich manure. It's great, and we can get money from this part. So the manure, it can be sold too. About just the basic information, the housing and equipment. It's not a surprising sentence that the rabbit housing and equipment differ from country to country. It's based on, for example, the law and, for example, welfare parameters. It's very important to you can work with the effect of the climate, the raw materials like feed, and we have to demonstrate the scale style of our production, so we can distinguish intensive, extensive, and semi-intensive production, and the expertise of the rabbit production is it's very unique, and we have to look after the great person. So just two basic information: adequate space. We have to give space, enough space for animals with good ventilation, and because of the harmful gases. However, it's not just like for rabbit. For we can say it with every animal, and the protection is very useful. The housing should be able to prevent against injury. Indoor, mainly with the wind and the predators, as you can see. Let's speak about the temperature. I highlighted the biggest groups in rabbit management, starting with the pregnant rabbit. So you can see the numbers. So is the most important information that the 1 day old rabbit needs high temperature. However, it's made by the dough rabbit. However, we have to measure the temperature in the next nest box too. However, with age, this temperature need is starting to reduce, and the young rabbit is just need a room temperature, so it just like other species. The relative humidity, it's not it is not differ from, for example, poultry. It's about 65 to 70%. The ventilation, is the same like poultry. The lighting can be differed by sex. The doe rabbit needs 16 hours light. However, the male, the duck rabbit, needs 8 or 16 hours light. It depends on the age of the duck rabbit. And the other important part in lighting, the illumination intensity. The breeder stocks need 20 to 30 lux. However, in production, always 15 to 20 lux is necessary. There are so many options to keep the poultry. These cages are in the intensive production, indoor, of course. You can see 1 level and 3 level solutions. And the production is usually placed indoor with different style cages, like in this slide. The transport of the manure is very important to reduce the harmful gases. However, there is an option to keep rabbits in deep litter housing. I was in a research about rabbit behavior and mature behavior and aggressivity. We measure merely the aggressivity and the behavior style. So I can tell you that that in grouping, in group keeping, in deep litter, the aggressivity was very high, and because of the frequently maturing, the rate of the fake pregnant rabbits was very high. So it's a very good question, how can we kept our rabbit in very efficient way. However, it can be very good in welfare for our rabbits. So because the wide rabbit behavior, it can be seen in our animal, and if we are working with different grouping numbers, we can differ, and it can be different if we want to produce, for example, meat. And I can send you different information and deeper information if you are interested. However, there is for example, a table about the information if we are working different numbers of groups. We can affect the production parameters of our animals. Okay, so just again, just the main information about the equipment, the water and feeding. Trough must be washed regularly. We have to use clean rags to clean. Disinfection of the water feeding trough at least once a week with different detergent to remove feed from the feeder, so prevent different disease outbreak. We should clean the cages in every week, and look after the young ones. Checking for the development of sharp edges. It's very important to not harm or legs or animals. Next box must be removed after the weaning, and it should be washed and disinfect in preparation for the next breeding season. It's very important because of the health of the litter. Let's see the equipment, starting with the watering. The water trough can be different style in the production and at home if we have a pet. It's not differed in watering. We can work with open water surface, as you can see on the top. So the animal has open water surface and has a space for get enough water. However, other option is a nipple drinker. It can be the problem about the dripping. So if we are working with a nipple drinker, we have to reduce the dripping because it can be create a wet area, and it will be harmful for the health of all animals. The other important part of the equipment is the feeders. There are very simple solutions for give the fodder for the rabbits. Feeders can be made from plastic or metal. It's important to be easy to clean, and it should storage feed. Rabbits need hay and gray forage. So for that we can use so packet hay packet is needed. You can see in this slide. The slide starting at the left with metal feeders, then hay packet, and the last one on the right is a feeder in intensive production. However, the others can be at home or in a production. Other very important part, mainly in the production, the nest box. Nest box is an artificial nest, so it should be dark and very secure. The doe rabbit pluck itself and create a great environment with high temperature, so to the litter by the fur and the bedding materials together. The material of the nest box should be easy to clean and sterilized, good in heat insulation. It can be wood or plastic. However, it's very important the size of the nest box. The size of it based on the size of the doe rabbit. I think it's easy to understand. The nest box is added to the inside the cage, or it can hang on the cage. So we have to give the nest box to the doe rabbit 2-3 days before the birth. if the next box is inside the cage, the area of the cage should be appropriate for dough and the litter together. However, the easiest solution to hang the next box outside of the cage, so the dough rabbit can move from the cage part to the next box, and it is a easiest solution in the production too. Okay, and I give you a table about great numbers just to highlight the area of nest boxes. This table gives the parameters if we have dough rabbit under 4 kilogram of over 4 kilogram, so the size and the weight of the dough rabbit is affect the size of the nest box, as you can see. Just main information about the feeding system. If you're working with the extensive system, it depends on forage and the kitchen wastes. It can be cheap and easy to provide a quantity of food required. The disadvantages about the forage availability varies with season. It's not great in production. The quality of the forage reduces during the dry season. It is labor intensive and it can introduce disease and health problems. The intensive system, it depends on prepared concentrate foods from a feed mill, so we can work with high level of production with little risk of disease. However, it's very costly and depend on the feed miller. Not surprising. The semi-intensive system, it's between the extensive and intensive systems, and if you want to produce, however, in the little style and amount of rabbit, we can choose this system. About the nutrition, let's start with the protein level of the feed. It's not surprising. The protein level of the feed is very important because of the production of milk, meat or wool. So you can see in the slide the great protein level for different period of life of rabbits. However, the optimal protein level is based on the temperature too. If the temperature is high, it's very high, the rabbits need more protein content in the feed because they feed less because of the heat, so can't get enough protein. We have to look after the best energy protein level ratio. If rabbit is feed contain high in energy, they eat less. So it is the same problem because they get enough energy but without feed, without protein in the feed. For Rabbit lysine is a limiting amino acid. If the rabbit gets more lysine in the feed, the weight gain will be better for level. So it's just it's good information if you want to keep rabbit as a pet or to keep for production. Other information, I think it's important in the case of wool and milk production. So in the wool and milk production, methionine is very important because the sulfur content it's very important in this case. Okay, let's see the other part of the feed. However, this slide didn't contain the fiber information about the fiber. In rabbit species, fiber is very important. However, rabbit don't have cellulase enzyme which can digest cellulose. So rabbit digests fiber very poorly. Because of it, different microorganisms in the appendix can digest cellulose for the rabbit, and these microorganisms create fatty acids, and these fatty acids give for the rabbit 10 to 30 percentages of the whole energy demand. So it's very important the fiber content if you want to focus to the energy protein ratio. Okay, you can see minerals too. These are the slide focus for the main minerals. However, I just want to highlight the calcium and phosphorus. However, these are not surprising minerals for an animal. So it's just it's no again. However, we have to focus the vitamins. In the case of vitamins, rabbit can synthesize vitamin C, and bacteria in colon can synthesize vitamin B, different type of vitamin B. So just remember, however, we have to add vitamin A, DEAK for animal. However, we don't have to give rabbit vitamin C or B. Okay, let's see other main information about rabbit. It's about the coprophagy. It has different advantages and disadvantages, of course. So this is the eating of the fossil-like pellets produced in the caesum. These pellets are sometimes called the soft fattest. So we always, in Hungary, we always call it soft fattest. To do this, the rabbits suck in this type of fetus as it emerged from the anus, then swallow without chewing. It's important part. The consumption of this soft fetus starts when the rabbit is about 3-4 weeks old. However, the rabbit can survive without this practice. However, if the rabbit can eat the soft fetus for example, because of one disease or about the bad cage system, for example, it will be harmful for the rabbit in a long period. So this is a biological thing, so we have to give the option for a rabbit to do this. So these soft fats are higher in crude protein and lower in the crude fiber than the hard one. However, and mention the bacteria, the soft fats higher protein level is due to the content of the of bacteria. So this coprophagy is very important part of rabbit digestive process. So it is a recycle system, so it can recycle different nutrients and returning protein, and mainly it's very important vitamin B, which came from the bacteria. So however, I mentioned advantages and disadvantages. So the bacteria protein can be utilized. The animal gets vitamin B and K from it. And amylase from the bacteria is useful in the degradation of the starch. So these are the main advantages of coprophagy. However, there are different disadvantages. It is about the toxins. Toxins like mycotoxins go to the stomach again with this recycle system. So therefore mycotoxins are very harmful for rabbits because of it. And I want to highlight the other problematic part. It's about antibiotics. The oral antibiotics can get in the animal again, and their effect will be effect longer. However, it can be useful if there is a much more problem about disease. However, it can be harmful if we have however we are working with a powerful antibiotics. So it's disadvantages. However, we have to focus for these informations. So it's about coprophagy. Okay. Sexing on the rabbits. To determining the sex of rabbits is not difficult with a little practice. If you have a pet, different type of pet, and different sex of pet, you can differ and determine the sex of it. However, this sexing of the rabbit can carry out shortly after the weaning, about 6 to 8 weeks. However, it can be done about 5 to 6 weeks too. This is the time when the male and female should be separated at the time of weaning. However, the weaning can be done at different age of rabbit. So the rabbit should be held in its back. Put a finger on the tail side of the genital opening and abdominal side. Press down gently and stretch the organ with the finger and the thumb. If it is a doe, so it's a female, a long slit will appear. If it's a duck, it's a male. The small rounded tube-like structure will show, so it's I think it's not surprising if you are see this part, how it's just to highlight again that the doe is the female and the buck is the male in the rabbit species. To speak about the reproduction of the female and the males too. You can see about the age for the mating. The proper age for the first mating is depend on the breed and the individual development. However, if we are working in the production, we always do it at the same time. However, we are working with the same age stock. For the small breeds, the first mating can be done about 4 to 5 hours, sorry, months. For large breeds, it can be later, from 9 to 1 year, from 9 months to 1 year old. Rabbits, it's very important to start and keep this age, because we want to produce in a longer period of time. However, we are starting to mate our animal before the best age. It is very harmful for our animal, and they can't produce for a long time. So it's beneficial to wait for this month or just 1 year, and we can get healthy and an animal which is great in the reproduction. So it's very great to know. Okay, if we are working in a group, so we keep our animals in a group, one male can easily handle up to 8 to 10 does. It is a good practice to keep the male hatched at some distance from the females. And we are speaking about the practice of mating. However, if we are for example, our keeping system about a deep litter, and we are stuck in a little group, the male are always searching the best female to mate. However, if we are working in cages, we are a great part, so we have to pick the male, and so we are who are create the option to get a place to mate for the rabbits. About a female, it's very simple and likely. The does require more care attention because of the pregnancy part. Like the males, the proper age of the first mating depends on the breed and individual development. However, very important to keep this timeline, because we want to produce in a long period, as I mentioned. However, if we are mating the female previous the best time, the great reproduction we won't get. So the male does, when they reach the maturity, it's 4 to 5 months for the lighter, the short, small breeds, and about 7 to 8 months for the for the larger heavy breeds. So you can see these are the same or a shorter period in time to wait. You have to wait if you want to produce with the same stock for a long time. The ovum does not detach from itself. It is so there is no spontaneous ovulation in the rabbit species. The ovum needs external stimuli. It means um, it can be the view of the back or the smell of the back. However, the stimuli can be the mating behavior of the back and the mating itself. So after the mating, the stimuli, the luteinizing hormone starts to increase in the dough, and after approximately 10 hours long period, the ovum is detached, and it's a very short period. However, it's very important to get a great and healthy pregnancy in the future. If we work with artificial insemination, which is very common in production, the ovulation is done by hormone injection. It can be gonadotropin releasing hormone, for example. It's very common in artificial insemination in rabbit species. Okay. Oh yes, about the mating. So if you yeah. If I'm right, we always say that the mating can be very quickly if we think about the rabbit. We can say that you are quick as a rabbit. So why? It is very if we are working in an external system. There is good information that is the experience suggests that the early morning or the evening mating is the best for the fertilization. Because of the fertilization, it is in the focus is just to avoid the hottest period of the day. For this important operation, for mating, always take the dough to the box cage. So if we are not working in a group style, for example, in deep litter, we are working in a cage system. It's a very important information to take the dough to the box cage. And why it's so important. So with this technique protocol, the back focus will be on the dough. However, if we are twist this, so if we are take the back to the dough's cage, the duck focus to the new cage, the new space, new smelling, and the focus won't on the dough, and the mating this period will be just longer in time. However, we want to work very quickly, and this mating is very short in period. So it's very important to take the dough to the box cage. Okay, if they fail to mate, in a few minutes take the dough to the different box. So it should be very quick in period. If this fails, try again the next day, but do not leave the dough with the back all day or even an hour in an attempt to solve the mating problem, because the back can be harmful for the dough for in a long period. If dough is ready to be mated, Susan will stand still with a few seconds, stretch out and slightly raise her hindquarters so as to allow the back to mount and mate. If the mating is successful, you will be you are here a noise, a characteristic cry of pain or joy, and you are see that the back is falling over the dough very quickly. The back slides backwards on the dough and doesn't fall. The mating hasn't taken place, so it's very important part. The back is falling on the dough and create a cry of pain or joy, so you can hear it very quickly. So the mating is done. You just put the dough back her cage, so it's done. It should be just a few minutes. I just want to focus to the pregnancy. However, in rabbit species, false fake pregnancy, it can be said pseudo pregnancy is happen when those trying to mate each other, or the detached ovum does not fertilize. So because of it, the progesterone hormone increase in the dough, and the doughs start to make nest, and the behavior it's like the pregnancy one. However, this period, this pseudo pregnancy, lasts for just 16 to 18 days, because after this period the progesterone starts to decrease, and we can start to create start to mate or dough. So about the pregnancy test, so just get information about the successfully fertilization, mating and fertilization. It's pipetting. It's a method used to determine the dough pregnancy. It's early in time. It's about 14 days after the mating. So with this information, non-pregnant does are rebred immediately. The late pregnancy test about 20 days pregnant time. So it's a longer period. However, it is much more comfortable for check. Okay, I mentioned the pseudo-pregnancy test. So it's the result of sterile mating. So the detached ovum doesn't fertilize, as I mentioned, or the commonly stimulation of one doe riding another, or have sterilized back. So it happens more frequently with those that have not killed their first litter. So always separate those at least a month prior the breeding. So because of this protocol, the stimuli will be fresh for the does. Okay, the does must be separated at least 80 to 20 days before the mating, the doe may pull fur and attempt to make a nest, but they will not keep it clean. It's a great information to get the pseudopregnant animals. Okay. The killing can take place in the nest box anytime of the day, but morning always seems to be the most popular time. All she needs now is a rest and feed before to get birth. So it's I mentioned the nest boxes. You should give the nest box before the birth. Cannibalism is it's very problematic in rabbit in the production. However, it's common problems, and there are so many points that can be wrong for all animals. For example, doe is very nervous because of the first litter. It can be because of the feed or lack of the water, or there are different predators which can stress our animal, and unusual noise can be harmful for the doe, and because of it injure the young ones. Moving the nest box after the youngs are there, it's a problem, because if you are touch the young ones, it can be harmful for the first days, because of the smell. So it's important to not touch the 1 to 3 day old rabbits. Then in the shallow nest box make the does feel insecure, so it's very important not to disturb in any way the doe who has a litter. Okay, about the fostering. The fostering means getting doe to ascend the rabbit or rabbits from other litter, and this the fostering has different protocol points. Fostering is needed when one litter is very huge, however the other is very little, or there was a problem with the birth. So we want to equalize the little, so the care of the does. So it's about the equalization. Okay, and this let's see the points of the fostering. It's the best if the doe, the mate does on the same day. The litter inwards should be born within 3 to 5 days. However, it's the best if we are do the fostering in first 2 days. Only foster rabbits that are less than 5 days old. So it's this fostering starts with the removing both the foster and donor doe from their cages. Carefully remove the rabbits, the little ones, to be fostered from their nest. with a minimum disturbance and without touching any of the rabbits that are not fostered. So and return the donor doe. So it just happened. Then the donor doe lost some of the young ones, and because of it, it's very important not to touch on disturbance the litter. So it will be not problematic. The other part, to introduce the rabbits to the fostered, disturbing the foster nest as little as possible, and leave the newly mixed rabbits for hours, so they are all take the same smell together, and because of it, after returning of the recipient doe to the cage, so we are give them the mixed rabbit litter and the food, and because of it we are hoping that she accept the whole litter. And because of this protocol, with this fostering, we can equalize the different sized litter and nest. Weaning. However, just to mention, the gestation or pregnancy period lasts for 31 to 32 days in related species. I think I didn't mention this information before. In the litter, there can be 8 to 10 rabbits in the case of breeds. However, it can be 9 to 11 rabbits in the case of hybrids. So because this high amount of rabbit, if the fostering is very important, the rabbits in the nest get milk from the doe once a day, like the wild rabbit species. Just to add this information for the previous. Okay, just the weaning. The weaning means the separation of the doe and the young ones. It can be indifferent in time. The wean can be at age of 21 to 23 days. However, it is very early, but can be productive in intensive production system, and because and with this system we can produce from early in time, and we can give our animal a solid feed. The best age for the weaning is about 28 days. Based on different research results. However, it is usually the weaning usually takes place between 5 to 6 weeks. It's mean about 35, 38 days. Okay, why should we do this weaning? The doe should be allowed to recover her body condition before the re-mating. So it's just a time for the doe for rest, and young ones goes the production, for example, the meat production. Okay, and of course, depend on the level of feeding, but the doe should normally have rest at last 4 weeks, so 1 month before the remating. Okay. Shortly about rabbit diseases, it can be a long list. However, I just listed the 4 disease about in rabbit production, something in the ear, carker, and skin marge. It's a problematic. The external parasites, such as mites, can cause this skin ear condition. So it's very bad for our animals, and because it's external parasites, if we are one problematic animal in a stock going to face to this this problem too with this condition. So rabbits will ear character may shake their heads all the time, so it's very ignoring for all animals. So we have to work with different drops or solutions. How we have to call the vet and search the problematic parasites. Coccidiosis, it was a huge problem in poultry. However, it's a very common disease in the rabbits too. It may be classified as a parasite disease since causative organisms in a microscopic animal. However, what can be the symptoms of this coccidiosis? Loss of appetite, pot belly, diarrhea, or inability to gain weight. So it's it's very common symptoms. However, there are coccidiosis dust, maybe in a drinking water or in a feed can be great to cure for this problem. Mastitis, it's a bacterial disease. However, it's not common in a production. However, it can be hard if you are faced to this problem. We have the option to give antibiotic for the animals. However, if we have this problem, it may be unwise to continue breeding from the doe, so it's really problematic in the reproduction. Snuffles, it is a bacteria infections too. Infections of the respiratory system. It's very the symptoms is very similar to the cold in the humans. It's about sneezing, noisy breathing, running nose, bad fur on the face and inside of front legs. So we can work with antibiotics, but mortality is very high, and the recovery it's very problematic. So we have to focus with this problem with this bacteria too. Just a last slide about the recording. However, I think it's not surprising. Record data is very is a part of the good management. It's very important. You need to record just the main informations in the production. However, nowadays there are options, different programs to do this. So we have so many options. If we are breeding, we have to record different breeding records, the date bred the duck used, the mating days, the pregnancy tests, the candidates, number born, dead and alive. So about information about the little number and the weight of the wing rabbits. We have to get information about these because we want to produce mainly meat with this winged rabbit, and we want to sell these rabbits to the production, for example. Okay, then if we are working just in a meat production, we have to focus the weight and the weight gain of our rabbits, and we have to focus to the market, so about the sales. Okay, this was about rabbit breeds and basic information about production and breeding and keeping the parent stock, and a little about keeping about the pets. So if you have a question, just write about it, and next week we are you are writing the last the test 2 test, so it will be the last lesson in this course. In test 2 there will be just 1 or 2 questions about rabbit, and the other goes to from poetry, like calculation, so it will be, I think, easy for you. Okay, have a nice day.